So, Sony's finally enabling VRR, that's variable refresh rate, a feature the Xbox Series X and S launched with that helps smooth gameplay and performance on a FreeSync enabled viewing panel. Now, there are various implementations of FreeSync, such as the premium editions for higher end panels and FreeSync for the slightly lower end models. Now that Sony has enabled VRR on select Sony Bravia TVs, that includes the Bravia XR series, though not everybody is happy as Sony has decided to offer VRR exclusively to Bravia for the time being at least. Obviously, those without a Bravia XR set or own a different brand entirely such as LG or Samsung, well, for now looks like we're stuffed. Though the wording from Sony's official website does suggest it's a rollout to Bravia XR panels first, with other manufacturers joining the fray later. It's a pretty shrewd business move. Sony are effectively attempting to influence your next TV purchase, and that's what it's supposed to do, even if it has a whiff of anti-consumerism surrounding its rollout. So, what are you getting with Sony's implementation of VRR? Sony has introduced its Perfect for PlayStation 5 campaign, which will see Bravia XR TVs gain 2 new exclusive features for the PlayStation 5, Auto HDR tone mapping and Auto Genre Picture Mode. Perfect for PlayStation 5 Bravia XR TVs will encompass the Z9 the A9OJ, the A8OJ, the X9 and the X9J models, and the new features will be activated via firmware updates due on the PS5 and Bravia TVs by the end of 2021. So TVs recognized as Perfect for PlayStation will also demonstrate support for frame rates up to 120 frames per second and in 4K resolution via HDMI 2.1, where compatible PS5 games support the 4K/120 FPS format. Additionally, measured input lag on the compatible XR TVs is a gamer-friendly 8.5 milliseconds, which drops to 6 milliseconds on the flagship Z9J model, ideal for smooth and responsive game action. Now, once the software updates have been installed, Auto HDR tone mapping will optimize HDR settings during the PS5's initial setup by recognizing individual Bravia TV models accordingly and selecting the best HDR setting, thus with optimized HDR tone mapping set to the specific Bravia display specification. Crucial details and colors, even in high contrast scenes, will become clearer, giving greater immersion and helping navigate the game world. Now, Auto Genre Picture Mode enables Bravia TVs to detect whether the content being watched is a game, movie or TV show. This allows the TV to automatically switch into game mode when gaming, which minimizes input lag to make the action more responsive, or to standard mode, which shifts the focus to picture processing for a more expressive image when watching movies via a streaming service or from the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc on PS5. So VRR and ALLM, that's Auto Low Latency Mode, are now available on Sony Bravia X90H TV sets. Now, the company has been rolling out much of the anticipated update for these displays, with users with Sony Bravia X90H TVs now looking forward to VRR and ALLM enabled on their displays after updating to the latest software. And while this VRR and ALM update is, I'm getting tongue-tied with that, is a sigh of relief for owners, you really do need to keep in mind that it also comes with its own set of drawbacks. Firstly, the Sony Bravia VRR and ALLM update does not enable Dolby Vision game mode on TV. This means users still cannot make use of the new Dolby Vision gaming experience on the Xbox Series X and S without the 150 millisecond input lag. Now, once you enable VRR on input through HDMI 3 or HDMI 4, the Sony Bravia X90H also disables local dimming. This is due to the TV's inability to adjust the local dimming of the panel while also stabilizing the frame rate through the VRR feature. So either you keep VRR on or keep local dimming enabled. Now, it's unclear whether or not Sony will add Dolby Vision game mode to the Bravia X90H at this time. Until then, the Xbox Series X and S Dolby Vision for gaming feature is pretty useless on this display. You simply cannot play any game with 150 millisecond input lag. We also doubt that there will be a way to have both local dimming enabled while making use of VRR. Users will just have to decide what they want out of their TVs. New purchasers of the Bravia XR TV in 20 European countries will be able to claim PlayStation Store digital codes worth 100, that's 100 UK pounds or euros, or an equivalent to the local currency, and the offer applies to all purchases made at the participating retailers from the 7th of October to 30th of November 2021. Check the link in this video's description for more info on eligible countries. So, how important is VRR and what is its actual purpose? Well, VRR, variable refresh rate, is a nice option to have, no doubt. Whether it's important to have largely depends on the quality of the game and how well optimized it is for the hardware. Now, I've noticed quite a bit of bragging on numerous social media channels that PS5 does not have VRR, and that is true. Sony has been slow to roll it out to TVs, though. Let's remember why VRR exists on PC and on Xbox Series X and S in the first place. The fact of the matter is, VRR is like a band-aid, helping to disguise spotty, unoptimized game performance, which may include frame rate stutter, screen tearing, and major frame drops that fall between 40 to 60 FPS. If the game dips below 30, VRR is useless. So rushed, poorly optimized games benefit from VRR the most, something that anecdotally, well, in my experience, has been less of an issue on PS5 versions of multi-platform games, and I own and play on both PS5 and Series X regularly. So is VRR nice to have? Sure, but if games ran as intended, i.e. at a locked frame rate, fully V-synced, then VRR would be redundant. And therein lies the problem. Not all games are optimized well, particularly at launch, often rushed patch after patch throughout the year, making VRR a necessity for smooth gameplay experiences. So VRR is definitely nice to have, but let's not forget that VRR is kind of like a band-aid, instead of a pair of crutches for a broken leg, rather than a permanent fix of the fracture. It does kind of suck that VRR is somewhat timed exclusive to Sony's own Bravia XR panels, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Better to have it than not have it. Now, in other news, I have to say it's just a little insane to me that Sony has managed to move on average more than 1 million PS5 units per month since it launched 11 months ago, that being November 2020. That's over 12 million PS5 sold in spite of a global chip shortage, as reported via VGCharts.com, and according to VGC estimates, and they've been pretty accurate with their numbers this generation, Sony's PlayStation 5 sold an estimated 246,492 units for the week ending September 25th, bringing its lifetime sales to 12.20 million units. PlayStation 5 sales are up by over 5,000 units and is tracking higher than PS4 sales over a similar time period. And if you're just a little curious as to how Xbox and Nintendo are doing, well, the global hardware sales for all current platforms is as follows. At number 1 is Switch, that's 91,384,878 sold. At number 2, PlayStation 5, 12,200,881 sold. At number 3, Xbox Series X and S combined at 7,456,364 units sold. At number 4, PlayStation 4, and I assume includes the Pro, that's 116,533,573 units sold. And at number 5, Xbox One, that's including the One X, that's 50,405,843 units sold. And way down at the bottom, understandably, Nintendo 3DS at 75,943,990 units sold. And finally, PlayStation Big Boss President and CEO Jim Ryan gave an interesting interview with GameIndustry.biz journo Christopher Dring as part of the ongoing GI Live event taking place in London. Now, in the keynote fireside chat during GI Live, the PlayStation boss said that a hit game on PS4 or PS5 is around 10 to 20 million sales, but hopes that will change as gaming becomes as ubiquitous as movies and music. Jim Ryan went on to intimate he'd like PlayStation games to reach hundreds of millions of players, not just tens of millions, which sounds an awful lot like what Xbox boss Phil Spencer said years ago, hence Game Pass and xCloud availability on multiple platforms. Now, here's the key points I think everybody will be most interested in. Peruse the linked article for more details, and I quote, "I hope that PlayStation 5, and I really believe the PlayStation 5 will be Sony's biggest and best and most loved PlayStation yet, and I hope that will happen," Ryan said when asked about his hopes for the future. I would also like to see a world where games that we make at PlayStation can be enjoyed by tens of millions of people, perhaps hundreds of millions of people. Right now, success with the current console model, a really great PlayStation hit, you're talking 10 to 20 million people being able to play that game. And we're talking about games stacking up against music. We're talking about games stacking up against movies. Music and movies, they can be enjoyed by almost limitless audiences. And I think some of the art that our studios are making is some of the finest entertainment that has ever been made anywhere in the world. And to kind of gate the audience for that wonderful art, wonderful entertainment that our studios are making, to gate the audience for that 20 to 30 million frustrates me. I would love to see a world where hundreds of millions of people can enjoy those games. And toward the end of the interview, Jim Ryan went on to say that he believes PlayStation 5 will be Sony's biggest, best and most loved PlayStation the company has ever created. Interesting stuff there, and it certainly gives a strong indication Sony is planning for its own PlayStation Pass system, a subscription service similar to Xbox Game Pass. That's if PlayStation is truly interested in reaching hundreds of millions of players. Though will Sony do day and date like Microsoft? Since Sony places a very high quality value on its own IP, and Jim Ryan has gone on record in the past in saying that Game Pass is an unsustainable business model for Sony. But interesting times indeed. Though what say you? Go ahead, sound off, share your thoughts and opinions on today's news, because that unfortunately brings us to the end of the video, but let's continue the discussion cordially in the comments. And for all your gaming news, rumour, plausible speculation, hit the like button, yes, subscribe, and yes, hit the notification bell, help us reach more gamers. Feel free to share the video. Consider supporting Foxy Games UK via Patreon, you'll find a link in the video's description. Thank you for the extra support. Well, that concludes our time together today. Thanks for hanging out on this Friday. Until next time, play games, not corporations.